Cannibalism. Could you eat a whole human being? With the help of a doctor, a scientist and a chef, I set out to see if it's possible. Cannibalism Part 4. Muscle. For many cannibals, the human thigh or buttock is their go-to meat. But what does it taste like? The truth is, even those who may have eaten human flesh haven't tasted it. David Harker supposedly cooked it with pasta, tomato ragu and cheese. The Garanhuns of Brazil seasoned the flesh of 2 women and a teenager with salt and cumin. And although Jeffrey Dahmer said that thighs tasted like filet mignon, meaning they tasted beefy, juicy and sweet, like a scumbag, he said he ate his with ketchup. Muscle is made up of thousands of elastic fibers bundled together tightly. Made of a block of proteins called myofibrils. Of more than 600 muscles in the human body, cardiac muscles are in your heart, smooth muscles enable the organs to function, and skeletal muscles expand and contract to produce motion. Without them, you'd be as floppy and useless as a politician being asked to answer an honest question. The largest muscle is the gluteus maximus, or the buttocks, which aid your posture. The smallest connects your eardrum to your inner ear. The strongest is the masseter, which provides 200 pounds of force for your jaw, so it can tear apart tough meat. The most efficient is your heart, which pumps 2,500 gallons of blood a day. And the busiest are your eye muscles, which make microscopic adjustments 10,000 times an hour. Being 40% of his body mass. Although Steve, hello, our average UK male, looks a little bit wimpy, his 33.6 kilos or 74 pounds of muscle is the same as carrying 3 car tyres, an adult Dalmatian or a queen-sized mattress. That's a lot of muscle. But given that most meat eaters consume 80 kilos or 12 stone 7 pounds of red meat a year, Armin Meiwes scoffed 20 kilos, 44 pounds of his victim, and competitive eater Molly Schuler gorged 10.2 kilos or 22.5 pounds of steak in a single sitting. It is doable, but not advisable, unless you've got shares in Anasol. But if a cannibal abides by the NHS dietary guidelines of 70 grams of red meat a day, if his 33.6 kilos of meat is made into 294 quarter-pounders, or 167.3 300-gram sausages, excluding his littlest sausage, the entire muscle mass of our average UK male would take 480 days to safely digest. And nutritionally, it's good. Archaeologist James Cole of the University of Brighton released a study on human cannibalism in the Paleolithic era, the years prior to 10,000 years BC, and determined the calorific value of each body part. So if a serial killer stripped and ate just Steve's skeletal muscles, no organs, no fat and no tendons, providing 43,500 calories, at 2,500 calories a day, that could keep a cannibal alive for almost 17.5 days. Muscle contains as much as 70% of the body's nutrients, being full of proteins, fats, and amino acids. But as many killers ate human meat seasoned or drenched in sauce, can we ever know what it really tastes like? The most honest account was from the survivors of the crashed flight UAF 571. Starving in sub-zero temperatures at 11,800 feet, having cut matchstick-sized pieces of thigh off the dead and sun-dried it to make it more palatable, they said, "It doesn't taste of much. It's like eating rice." But being so malnourished and so emaciated that some of the men lost 40 kilos, 100 pounds in weight, their taste buds would have been affected. Jeffrey Dahmer, a heavy smoker, said that thigh tasted like filet mignon, but also said it tasted spongy. It was so tough I could hardly chew it, so he tenderized it and fried it with onions. Armin Meiwes said it tasted like pork, but a little bit more bitter, stronger. Issei Sagawa said it was tender and soft like raw tuna. And the customers of Vladimir Nikolaev, alias Vladimir the Cannibal, who ate assorted meat he'd sold at a market as kangaroo, said it tasted odd and a little bitter. Of course, that depends on what cut of meat they ate, as a bicep and a thigh would taste different to a hand and a foot muscle. In 1998, TV chef Hugh Fearnley-Whittinstall ate placenta and stated, "It tastes like pork, a little more bitter." Karl Denk, the cannibal of Münsterberg, pickled his victim's flesh in jars and successfully sold it as pork. And in war zones, the smell of burning flesh is often reported as being similar to bacon. Which makes sense, as according to the Texas A&M University's Department of Animal Science, human muscle has a similar concentration of myoglobin to sheep and pigs than cows. In 2006, skirting the law of cannibalism, journalist Greg Foote had a nail-sized piece of thigh biopsied, chemically analysed, and concocting a piece of meat made from that composition. His version of his own flesh was said to be more like pork and lamb, with a beefy smell, stating as he ate it, "It's good, it's really beefy, a bit lamby." Although it can't have been that good, as having scoffed 20 kilos of his victim's flesh, as well as his chewy little penis. While in prison, Armin Meiwes, the German cannibal, became a vegetarian. But of course, this was an obvious choice, as surely every cannibal would eat the meat. But what about the other bits? Join me tomorrow to discuss the crunchiest part of the human body, the bones.